I want to thank you for returning with me to the garden one more time. And in this journey, we're going to talk about what love is all about. Because in all honesty, while we told you that this process and this course would be about learning non-judgment, non-judgment is the avenue through which we find what we're really here for. All of us, every human I've ever met, is craving an experience of love, craving a deeper knowledge of love, and trying to overcome the fact that we all feel separated from love. And if you go back to the very first introduction, when we started talking about man as he is, with a physical body and awareness open to the creative forces of the universe, there's no separation whatsoever in awareness and body and creator. They all flow naturally, and that is the experience we want to return to. The return to the garden is a return to man as he can be. Man as he can be is unlimited. There are no problems we cannot solve. We simply have to address them first in ourselves and our behavior. But it's been my understanding as I've walked this path for years and learned and taught with many, many people that what's been missing is a simple pattern of understanding. And if I asked everybody in this group to stand up and explain to me what love was, what you were craving, I will guarantee you we're going to get completely different definitions and descriptions from every single person. Because your subconscious only knows the love it has experienced. And in our consciousness, we have the fairy tale version of love, which is varied by individual to individual. I meet this guy on a white horse. I haven't owned a white horse. I just don't have a chance in the world with women. The fantasy of finding love out there is just that. It's a fantasy. It's not reality. Reality in all relationships is what you're able to give has to come back to you. It is an exchange. Love is an exchange. And the fulfillment we seek will only unfold in your life when you understand that it is an exchange. It is an exchange where you don't get to say it has to be that person. You have to allow the law of attraction to present the perfect situation for exchange. But there are different kinds of love, aren't there? We're going to talk about love in basically going back to the Greeks, because they were among the first to really begin to understand the different forms of love. And the first one we experienced as children is Pia. And Pia is the love of a child for his parent, or the love a parent has for the child. It flows both ways. And in your life, has there been anything more precious than the security you felt when mother held you to her breast? When you were being fed and loved and held and touched and all those things all at the same time? Or dad held you in his arms, and as much as you wanted to be just like dad, you knew that when you were there that you were just sucking up that dadness and you were going to be just like dad? My friends, this is a form of love that has been on the planet from the beginning of mankind. It's been experienced by every generation. And we, in the human population, have an ability to go beyond the physical expression of Pia into something that's actually more complete. Not many have made it. So for most of us, that love we knew as a child, we have been trying to get back to for the rest of our lives. Have you ever recognized that we tend to attract as our mates people that mimic our parents, people that represent our parents? Did I marry my mom? No, not exactly. But I did marry somebody who had the attributes, the same signals, the same vibration, the same energy of nurturing. What I forgot was that my mom and I didn't get along all that great. And so when I married this person that reminded me of that love, that Pia, that, oh, she'll do this and she'll do that. No, not exactly. And some of you have had that kind of experience too. Thankfully, we're living in a time that's more tolerant of change and not the oppression of, in my mom's generation, they were not allowed to divorce. My dad was Catholic, but he was the regular Catholic that didn't really pay any attention to the rules. My mom was a converted Catholic. She knew the rules backwards and forwards. And she was bound and determined, no, you don't get a divorce. I saw them fight for years and years and struggle and all the stuff that goes on because each of them was living their truth and trying to manifest what was correct, and they were on two entirely different wavelengths. What did I experience as a child who loved them both, wanted nothing more than them to just stop fighting and start loving again, give me back my life as it's supposed to be, my life where I came home and, yeah, Dad went to work and Dad did this and Mom did her role, because I had this fantasy all figured out of what it was supposed to be like. And for some people, the fulfillment that they're struggling for is nothing more than a return to the greatest love they knew, the love of a parent for the child. How about you? Where has your quest for love taken you? I'm not limiting you here. I'm going to give you some options. But this is where we started. And for some, eros, the sexual, the mating love, is the love that, oh, that's the one. That's where I'm going to find fulfillment. That's where I get to have a complete experience of love. Did you? Was that as beautiful and incredible as the sexual experience is and was and continues to be? Is that the fulfillment you've been looking for? Or is that another form of expression? That's how we are encouraged to procreate, because who in the world would bring rugrats into the world the way and struggle for 30 years if there weren't something good at the beginning or the... Sexuality in our culture is untalked about. And that's a shame. Because we've put sexuality into this quiet corner, and yet it is a profound part of life. Show me something on planet Earth that's growing that's not sexual. Show me a plant that's not sexual. Show me a species of life that doesn't have that sexual component. And somehow, through our understanding of the garden story, through the nun's misinformation, or through my misunderstanding the wisdom that was being shared with me, somewhere along the way, I got the idea that we were supposed to come here and do everything except sex. Which means that everything is okay to experience, but I had to have sex because that's what I was denied. That's what I was told I couldn't have. Artificially created the desire for more and more and more. And for some, they're living a life of insatiability. A life where sexuality is just how they feel anchored in the world. And without that experience, what's the point? For that person, for those people. And they are in multitudes quietly around the world. My words are, there's something better. There's something higher. There's something more fulfilling. And I'm not taking away the beauty of the sexual experience because it is profoundly important experience. It's the way we not only populate the planet, it's the way we express our humanness. Philia. Philia is brotherly love. It's also the love of things. And it's different from the other two, isn't it? And if someone got the greatest sense of fulfillment in their childhood by the things that came into their lives, if that's how they knew love, if dad wasn't ever around, but he let you drive the Ferrari or let you play, or you saw the toys of life as being the expression of love, well, those are the people that will be sitting outside polishing their car. And the wife is inside saying, oh, if he'd just do that to me. Your things, is that your source of love? Are you more focused on love because the other two suck? No. Are you focused on things because you're not fulfilled any other way? If so, I'm here to tell you, you're not being fulfilled by the things either. And I'm telling you there are multiple kinds of love because we're here to have all of them as great experiences in life. But fulfillment will never happen through Pia, through Eros, through Philia. Fulfillment not on that path unless you step in and begin to understand the Christ-like love. And whether you call it agape, I don't care which part of the country you're from or which way you've heard it, either one are okay with me, but agape, the unconditional love, this is the fulfilling love. And it's only when you bring unconditional love into Pia that you can have the fulfillment you have longed for from the relationship with your children. It's only when you can unconditionally accept who and what they are and stop controlling their behavior that you will see the flower blossom into this beautiful creation that you got to shepherd. You see, unconditional love is the love of non-judgment. And it's the love you were brought into this world with, not necessarily from your parents, because they probably didn't understand. But it's the love that the Creator has for you that says, if you will, please return to the garden. Please come back. You are the prodigal son, the prodigal daughter, the one who's gone out. You came here with everything, and you spent all of it as fast as you could over and over again, like I did with my allowance, like I did with everything I had of value, trying to give it away. Creator has poured that abundance on you continually and asks only one thing. that you relinquish your robe of judgment. Relinquish your reliance on the one tool one thing that has separated you from the experience you are meant to have here. You are meant to have a complete, fulfilling, loving experience. When you are able to bring non-judgment into your physical relationship with another human being, the sexuality is amazing. The potential of experience is amazing, because what you're going to find that without judgment, there are no limits to the pleasure you are here to experience. Without judgment, you're not there in performance or pleasing or doing for someone else to get a result. You are exchanging energy. And what happened in this circle the last time, as the energy began to circle and circle and grow, you with a lover, you with a partner, you with a person who understands the exchange of energy as the path to fulfillment, will have the fulfillment poured on you beyond your ability to understand, beyond any pleasure you've ever experienced. When that unconditional love, when you've put aside the taboos, when you've put aside the shoulds and shouldn'ts, when you understand that Creator did not create sexuality by mistake, He did not punish us with sexuality and tell us, no, we're not supposed to experience that. We're not supposed to deny ourselves pleasure. This is the party. This is the garden. And you were invited to the garden to have the most glorious experience of life you're capable of, including great sex, fulfilling relationships, fulfilled because the judgment is taken away. Now, there are lots of ways to express sexuality. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I want to address philia. How many of you don't accumulate things because you think it's an expression that somehow is unbecoming a spiritual person? May not believe it consciously, but what does your subconscious pick up? Is there a belief that somehow expressing lack is more godly than expressing an abundance of things? I'm here to share that my observations and my perceptions and the walk I've been on have told me over and over and over again that the great teachers on our planet are the ones who have great wisdom, which leads to great wealth, which leads to great experiences and cool toys. Why not? Why not have? How many of you have GPS machines now? Those magical little machines, we've all got them. And just a few years ago, that was an absolute luxury, but now, oh no, everybody's got to have one. Don't get lost anymore. But it's a cool thing. Magic from the sky tells me where I am all the time, and I don't know how it works. I don't care how it works, but boy, I always know where I am. And that little lady tells me where to go. Oh, wait a minute, maybe that's not so good. I used to judge that. I'm here to invite you to a different experience of love. And understand that the only way to find the fulfillment of the loves that you've already had, the only way to actually feel complete as a human being is through the pathway of releasing judgment. Have you heard that enough times yet? To make it real enough that you're willing to go out and watch and look and experience life with different colored glasses and see if it matches what you are hearing? It's a simple roadmap, profoundly simple. But on your path, I want you to remember that sexual energy is the creative force of the universe. Sexual energy is the creative force of the universe. It's how Creator is telling you He loves you. What you do with that energy is up to you. And I grew up in a culture that I was around people who denied themselves that sexual energy and poured it into their creations, poured it into their passions, poured it into their creations of music and writing and teaching and doing wonderful things. And that is a perfectly appropriate thing to do with sexual energy if that's what you choose. But don't get caught up in the conundrum of trying to judge one as better than another. What you'll find is that once creative energy begins to flow, it will demand an outlet. And if you have a creative, loving expression, a sexual expression with another person, what you're going to find is that all of a sudden other avenues sprout up. And all of a sudden you find yourself, oh, I can go dance. I can go have the fullest experience by expressing outwardly with this physical body what I'm feeling inside, which is Creator's love of this experience. You're asked to report back to Creator through your thoughts what you're experiencing. You weren't sent here to deny yourself of creative energy. And if you'll look around, what you're going to find is that we are in the most abundant expression of sexual energy that we have ever seen. When you walk out of this building, you're going to see the sexuality of the trees, the bushes, the plants, the flowers, the animals, everything that surrounds you is an expression of that energy. And that energy is flowing in you, through you, right now. And according to the judgments in your subconscious mind that you have believed, you are perfectly expressing or not how worthy you are of holding that energy and creating with that energy. In fact, sex is the overpowering urge for spiritual, mental, and physical union with the Creator. And it's time to get down to the bottom line. If you want to live an experience of life, it's time to understand it from the point of non-judgment, from the point of the first story in the Scriptures. In my opinion, it's the first story for a reason. The Garden of Eden is there as an analogy for you to understand a roadmap to joy, a roadmap to pleasure, a roadmap to an experience of life without judgment. And it is the garden. You're worthy of life in the garden. You are capable of life in the garden. And I'm not telling you to be promiscuous. I'm not telling you that this is license for free love. It's not. You are responsible for everything you create with this energy that flows through you. And if you create hurt in another person, that's not an expression of love. If you bring out the best in someone by giving them a compliment, if you bring out the best in somebody by encouraging their creativity, if you bring out the best in somebody, you are being sexual because you're encouraging the expression of that energy through life. Stop the judgment of saying that S word and thinking there's something negative about that. That is the expression of life here on planet Earth. We are sensual, sexual beings. If anybody doesn't believe that's true, they wouldn't have made it to this experience. If you've chosen the path of denial and you begin to cut off the sexual energy because that's not an appropriate, you're too old, it's not appropriate anymore, it's not this, you're not married, you're not, whatever the judgments are, the rules you're trying to follow, when you cut off that energy, you stop life. You begin to die. There are many people who believe that we're really supposed to live 60 or 70 years. That's silly. You're supposed to live as long as you're joyful. As long as you're providing the energy of growth and vitality, we don't know how long. I'm not going to tell you it's an exact number of 140 years, then everybody's going to try to prove me wrong. I don't know. But I know at 65, I'm a babe in this world. And I also know there's only 7 years of, there's not a cell in my body over 7 years old. You mean I can keep creating? Maybe so. I'm asking you to join me on the journey of observing and seeing and finding out. I think we're here in the generation that's going to actually experience something way different than the generations before. Might be wrong. It might be right. You going to bet with me? Going to come along and explore what's possible? Oh, no, he can't be right. I'm safer staying on the right side. Science says. Science will tell you that they don't know much yet. They're in discovery. What's love all about? Love is all about what you're doing with Creator's gift of this glorious, amazing body, this incredible mind in a computer that we cannot match with all our great wisdom, in this incredible experience where everything is automatically attracted to you according to the broadcast that you're sending out of the judgments that you've lived by. We're here in the garden or not. We might be just outside. But I know the fact that you're here, that you've listened, that you've heard, that you're a step away from the experience that will transform your life. I promised you at the beginning you would hear something during this experience that would make a difference in your life. And I've been willing to play that card, set that out there and tell you that's the truth, because in this time we've had together, there have been hundreds of opportunities for you to get that jewel, that moment, that bit of wisdom that says, oh, maybe so. Maybe if I observe and withhold judgment for just a minute, even though I want to judge, just hold back a minute and see if the choice of life, the choice of response, the choice of love isn't your choice, isn't your preference. In my opinion, Creator didn't send us here to force this experience. He sent us here with unconditional love, with the willingness to allow us to destroy ourselves if that's what we choose. He sent us here with the willingness to allow us to appoint ourselves with the most glorious things if we choose. To be eminently creative beyond our capacity to understand if we choose. To discover our connection with Creator is only limited by our judgment of Him or ourselves. No matter which way you point the judgment, it's going to be a separation between you and your nature or you and your body. I ask you, what place does judgment hold in your life? Are you willing to try a different path for a little while? Long enough to have a different experience. And only with a different experience can you choose from knowledge instead of choose from somebody else's advice. My advice is worthless. My words, they're flapping lips in the wind. They make no difference at all. What does make a difference is your willingness to step into new experience and then build on that knowledge and that love that naturally flows. And my prayer, my hope, my dream, and the change that we're going to see on planet Earth is going to happen only when and only because we begin to step into the role that Creator intended for us. The role in the garden. Welcome home. Welcome back. You're about to walk back into the world. The world has not changed. The world will continue to judge because that's how they were programmed, just like that's how you were programmed. And my dream, my hope is that at some point in the future, that light bulb goes off and you say, I choose love. I choose an experience other than judgment. It has been my profound pleasure to share with you in the days that have gone by the tiny bit of experience I've been able to build in my life so far. I promised you I'd be an open book. And what I'm going to share with you is the fact that life is a process. Life and living life with wisdom is a process. And I encourage you to not just judge based on whether I told you what you already knew or not, or what you heard before that you may or may not have understood, but instead suspend your judgment long enough to go have some experiences of your own, and then lock into those experiences because they are your wisdom. They are the avenue to reprogram the subconscious mind. It's through your experiences you're going to develop your picture of the rules of hockey. No, the rules of life. It's simple. There's a higher law than the law of survival. It's time to step in to the law of attraction. It's time to step into the law of understanding that opens the door to love. What's love all about? Love is all about understanding. Understanding the gift that life is. And the gift that you are to all those that Creator puts you in their path. You see, you are a part of the law of attraction. And you have a chance to grow the love that you feel if you're willing to give it away. Are you willing? And if you're willing, are you willing to be the observer at the moment of exchange? Because if you can be the observer at that moment of exchange, at that moment, epiphany, enlightenment, I don't care what you call it, that is your purpose for being here on planet Earth, to understand the beautiful gift that life is. The love that Creator has for you is unconditional. I hope that you'll have your own garden experience. This has been such a pleasure and such a joy. And as I look in the eyes, what I see is Creator. What I see is light. What I see is what I want to magnify. And Although I know every one of us still has accomplishments yet to create, that's not where my focus is. My focus is on, I am so thrilled that we got to do this together. We made a difference on planet Earth today by being in community, by exchanging energy, by doing the love things. We had social intercourse. Close enough for me. I am the best expression of love that I know, and I've got a long way to travel. I'm simply asking for you to come along on the journey. And some of us will genuinely make it back to the garden. The garden's a beautiful analogy for life as it can be. And the only thing that stands between you and living that life is, first, your understanding. Second, your willingness to observe. And third, your willingness to act. Act in love. Act with unconditional love. Act with the fulfilling love that brings you what you've been seeking. And know that you are loved, appreciated, and our paths will cross again. Namaste.
Hello, friends. Thanks for joining us on our journey to return to the garden. My hope is that something you heard inspired you to want to know more. It's been my experience that the information comes to life as you learn to observe more and judge less. I also know that those observations will lead to more questions. To continue the journey, I want to invite you to be my guest for our continuing monthly online classes. The interactive structure and with question and answers will be fun and filled with laughter. The first 3 sessions are free. Registration is a breeze. Just visit www.returntothegarden.com. That's it, returntothegarden.com. Here's wishing you a happy, stress-free life, and I hope our paths cross again.